in English. We have discussed with you from this podium several facets of the misuse of this coalition partner of the BJP ruling party. The coalition partners include the ED, the IT, the CBI, etc. You have heard about cases where in the 20 or the 15% cases which are political, 99% are about the opposition. What they fool you on is saying, 80% cases are not political. We are not talking about a case against a businessman. We are not talking about a case against an individual officer. We are talking about the 20% which have political flavor. 99% of the 20% involve political offense. Why? Second facet, you have seen that people who have long pending cases, advanced stages of cases, they suddenly go through that well-known, not a washing machine, the cliche, the phrase, now it's a laundry factory. They go through a laundry factory and that case suddenly stops. The case suddenly does not go on, it gets closed. Third facet you've seen is that a person gives 8 statements where he does not name any of them. Then he is arrested. Then suddenly 9th statement he takes a few sentences about you under arrest. And after a few weeks he gets bailed. The law officer gets up and says, we don't oppose bail, he has back pain. And then after that he gets approvership and pardonship. These are facets you know about. Today I am discussing a related facet regarding Chhattisgarh. Just to underline and emphasize on a new peg which happened yesterday in the Supreme Court. How unfair, how motivated, how partisan, how one-sided this whole approach of the BJP ruling government is during election time to mislead the people and to misuse agencies. It has never happened in 75 years of Indian history. The Chhattisgarh story starts with the so-called liquor scam. When is the so-called liquor scam activated? The ED jumps in just before the November 2023 elections in Chhattisgarh. Question arises why? The allegation relates to an alleged scam of 2019. This 19 scam gets so hot and activated a few weeks or a few months before the elections. Obviously, the motivation is ulterior, it is political. In this, the Supreme Court says something astonishing yesterday. It says there is no predicate offense. What are you doing about money laundering? As you know, money laundering is a consequential offense. So if there is no body, how does the tail wag without a body? But did not the ED know this much? It's the department which heads this act. Can't they read English? The entire case which was decided yesterday involved income tax allegations or notices. Even a first-year student of law can pick up the act and read, income tax is not a scheduled offence. Income tax act is not on the list of PMLA schedule. Then why did you start this? And you started it based entirely on hundreds of raids, searches, etc. And hours of statements recorded. The very same people who were petitioners spent days and nights, father and son, in custody. Statements recorded. For what? You know that it's nothing except an income tax search or something which you got material from. You are trying to stretch it to make it into an ED offense. You are trying to create an impression in the public by throwing figures like 2,161 crores ka ghotala hai. The question arises, sir, if it's a 2,161 crore ghotala, why is the Supreme Court quashing and why are you unable to show to the Supreme Court yesterday a money trail of 216 rupees? Give aside 2,161 crores. Arey money trail to dikhaiye. And the other question is that you have done this out of a distorted view of politics, a distorted view of cheap politics, a distorted view of a level playing field, a view in which your object is to shoot and scoot, paint them black, and we'll see later on the consequences. So the kind of figures thrown are nothing but imaginary. May I end with a few very short and quick questions? First question is that if this was such a big ghotala, a scam, why were you not able to give any money laundering evidence to the Supreme Court? Question number one. You have to cross the threshold of 1 crore to the act to apply. Second, if your allegation, as it is well known, is that hundreds of factories and liquor producers were involved in the scam in collusion with government, then have you arrested a single liquor factory manufacturer, owner, promoter? Third question, you have the most regulated department in government is called the liquor excise abkari department in any state. As I said, you cannot sneeze without it being entered in a register. Every truck which moves from one building to the other has to be entered. Everything has to be sealed in hologram and etc. etc. Forget the details. Have you arrested a single government official? Is it possible that this so-called scam occurred without a single government official being involved or in the knowledge? Question number 4. Was your hot period only for those 4 months when the elections were there? You are now in government already for 4 months. Did you do arrests even after coming into government of any factory owner, manufacturer, government official? Before and after, object is only to target you because you are a political opponent. You are in the opposition. Therefore, friends, it is time that the whole country, and I must add one more thing, now that you are in power for 4 months, you started a new technique. You are using or rather misusing the EOW under your state administration to revive or at least trying to revive the same allegations. Largely the same which was subject matter of the income tax inquiry which was made yesterday in the Supreme Court. So this is absolutely malafide. It is absolutely against all norms of level playing field. Level playing field, friends, is part of free and fair elections. Free and fair elections is part and the heart of democracy. Level playing field, free and fair elections and democracy have been held repeatedly to be part of basic structure. Basic structure is a very remarkable doctrine which says even a constitutional amendment which violates basic structure would itself be unconstitutional. So you are actually hitting at the root of Indian democracy. Why? For your cheap temporary political gains.